So first, we're going to start with topic 1, just function and function calls. This should be essentially entirely a review, but we just need to go over it just to make sure you're comfortable with it as we build out our knowledge about functions. So here's a very simple function. It just takes in an input parameter labeled start number, and then it returns that number times 3. And if I run this and call the function, you can see that I'm going to run the function multiply by 3, and I'm going to send it the number 5. So my result here will be a print statement with the number 15. And you can see there that I have the number 15. Pretty straightforward. You should all be very comfortable with that. But now we're going to just go ahead and layer in some try-except logic. We've been starting to use try-except, another thing that we need to get more comfortable with because we want to be able to ensure that the input that is being sent to us from our users is indeed valid. So here is, again, that same function, multiply times 3. It takes in a start number parameter. But this time I'm going to do try-except. So in this case, I'm going to try to assign a variable solution with an integer that multiplies start number times 3. As long as the input parameter to the function is a number, this should work just fine because it'll multiply that number times 3, it'll convert it to an integer, assign it to solution. So then the try will move on to the else and return the solution. However, if somebody tries to call this function with a string, that is going to be an issue because it won't be able to convert it to an integer, or it won't be able to multiply it times 3 and convert it into an integer. So this will fail, and it will return an except, or go down the exception path and return bad input. So I'm just going to try to run that function. First, I'll run it normally where everything works fine. I'll run it with 4. You can see everything works fine. It calls the function. It sends in the number 4, gets the number 12 back. But I could also attempt, as you already saw, to send it a letter. And in that case, it's going to fail because it can't convert that into an integer. I think, again, nothing new here. This is just utilizing a try-except process within a function. You can also have added it to the main program. In a lot of cases, it makes more sense to put it in either in the function, in its own function that tries to gather the input in a valid way, or if you're just doing a simple program, just putting it in the main, because then when you go to test your functions, they're going to be a better known set of tests. So in this case, that same function again, except this time I've removed that try-except logic. And I'm going to attempt to call that function, but this time I'm going to do a try. So I'm going to say try, sending or calling the function multiply times 3, sending it to number 5, which I should expect to get the number 15 back, and that will get assigned to something. Then there should be no issue here, so it'll go down the else path, and it'll print something, in this case 15. So if I run this, I'm going to get 15. However, if I attempt to send that function bad data, like a string, then we know that the function is going to fail, and it's going to raise value error, which means we'll go down the except path. And you can see that in the except path, because it'll be a value error, it'll print that's value error, my friend. That's the output in this case. So that's using the try in the main. You don't see main here because I'm a Jupyter, but essentially in the main part of the program. Okay, that's everything for topic 1.